Michael, you know how we start all the time? We are
No,
live.
how do we start? Are we live?
We are live, Michael.
Hi, this is Michael Waitze.
This is Martin Ronfort.
And man, welcome back to E-commerce Undercover. How are you doing today, Martin?
I'm doing super, super, super good. What about you, Michael? How are you?
I am awesome. Martin, is this the first time we're doing this show remotely? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that's the first time we're doing a show when like both of us are into our home studio.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's a different feeling, isn't it?
Completely different. It's really, really, really weird actually. And like like all the preparation that we do normally together before every show on the Sunday.
Right.
Like this was completely different today. And yeah, let's
Yeah,
let's let's do it.
I feel like on Sundays like I normally break down one studio, bring it downstairs to the other studio, and
Yes.
then we set up for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Or remember last weekend we went to somebody else's office, I think, or 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
This in a way was easier, but much weirder, I think.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's much weirder, as you said, and like, like when we start to set up the studio and everything on Sunday, like, it's always like we always like already in the mood of the
In the
podcast and
mode,
and
yeah. We're
and
already in the
of the
mode, yeah,
topic.
because we're already talking about stuff. We're face to face. It's a much different feeling here, I think.
Definitely, definitely. But that's fine. I'm sure this episode is gonna be awesome as
I
always.
love it. I love it. Okay, let's talk about e-commerce. What do
Let's
you
talk
want to
about
talk
it.
about today?
So today I wanted to talk about something that is interesting to me is augmented reality in e-commerce. So like we saw
Okay.
a lot of stuff in the augmented reality space. There's like a lot of technology, startups, products and services that starts to come out basically. And the question is like, can we use that in e-commerce? Because the basic idea of letting our sh- customers come in on our website and letting them try before they buy is something that's very very important for the end customers. So like with augmented reality, can that help? Can this like increase our conversion? I think that's a nice question.
Conversions, right, are really important.
Yeah.
What do you think are standard conversion rates, or not standard is not the right word, but what are acceptable conversion rates in e-commerce? In other words, if I have an e-commerce store and I have 100 people coming to it or 1,000 people coming to it, what should my conversion rate should be so that I'll be happy?
Should be around 2%. Something between
2%.
yeah, something between 2 and 4 is considered good.
Got it. Okay. Because I mean, that's kind of the number that I've been focused on is like three.
Yeah.
So fair enough.
Yep.
Now, do we have any examples of where virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality is actually being used? In other words, how do we know if it's working, or like what are some of the tools that are out there to actually make this work?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I think you point your finger directly on the major question. There is not actually. Like this.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining the show today, Martin.
No, actually, like this is very 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 interesting. Actually, I think this topic because like there is always some media or some like mainstream idea, let's say, that says
Right.
augmented reality is new, that's new technology, and we see that in many different new technology, right? Like sometimes something come out and 5 years later there's somebody who say, hey, that's completely new, right? But
Right,
no, it,
brand
it,
new.
it was there like before, but nobody was using that. And I feel
Right.
like augmented reality in e-commerce is kind of like that. Like if there is some company who try to use that a few years ago, didn't really succeed, so they stop. So then it's always like something new that just try to take off.
So, look, I've thought about this a lot, and we've actually mentioned this in a few of our shows. And if you remember, David Jude, the CEO and the founder of Pamela Fashion,
Yeah,
gave us a lot of really interesting reasons why maybe it's not there yet. But I think one of the biggest reasons why is, like you said, the tech just is not there yet.
yeah,
It's just
definitely.
not there. It's weird, right? In other words,
Mhm.
I talk a lot on some of my other shows about how compute power is just expanding rapidly, how storage is expanding rapidly and also getting much cheaper,
Definitely.
and how throughput, you go from 3G to 4G to 5G. I mean, I don't know what you have at home, but I've got 400 megabits up and down here. We talk about it a lot, but even that's not enough yet
Hmm.
with everything that we have, right? So Apple has AR kit, they have VR kit, they have all this stuff, but I think if you look at it, it doesn't feel robust enough yet. It's more like the comic book version of a superhero movie, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. What do you think?
I think that's part of the answer. I think regarding augmented reality, but because I think like nowadays easier and easier. Like for example, like now Apple including every product into the camera. There's some augmented reality stuff that you can directly do. Thanks to Google Maps, also you can like just like use the augmented reality features directly in Google Maps, and that's working super well.
So
So
wait a second. Have
yeah,
you used the augmented reality stuff in Google Maps?
myself never, because I don't drive, so so I don't need Google Maps.
And it's perfect then but here's the other problem, right? So you make a really good point. You don't drive, so you don't
Yeah,
use it.
yeah.
But you don't want the driver, because most drivers are
To
not
look at the
Uber
screen.
drivers or taxi drivers, right?
Mhm,
They're not Grab drivers. So they don't have a place to put their phone. I mean, I used to have a car.
mhm.
I didn't have a phone mount,
Yeah.
right? So what I don't want is people using the maps thing and holding it in their hand. I want them watching the road, to be fair. Now, I know that some cars are going to ship with these sort of heads-up displays that are going to have some augmented reality on it. But have you even ever tested the Google Maps thing?
Never. I never
Neither have I.
tested this one. Yeah, I don't know, but once again, I'm not driving, so like I don't know, but I saw that on some videos, and it looks pretty cool though. It looks
I was going to
pretty cool.
ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, I looked at it as well. It looks really super cool, right?
yeah, it looks really super cool. Then is it like super useful? Maybe not, because like Google Maps already works pretty well. Oh, actually, I would say maybe in Dubai that's very useful because you have been to Dubai also, right? And
I
I was
have.
living there before, and like the GPS there has always been a disaster because there's like always like 4 or 5 lanes, and you just don't know which one you have to
The
take.
roads there are huge.
Yeah, yeah, super huge, and I remember when I was using there, in case you miss the exit one time,
Oh no! If you miss the exit on the road in Dubai, you could go like
then
15 kilometers before you get to turn
exactly,
around.
exactly, it's such a disaster. If you miss the right exit, then you get to go
You may
like
as well just
all
get out
the
of your
way.
car. You
It's
may as well just get out of your
it's
car,
better, yeah.
jump over the highway, and walk over to the mall.
Exactly, you should do that. Otherwise, you can sometimes like do like 30-minute driving just to get the
I
next
know.
exit and come back. It's
I
crazy.
know.
So maybe for Dubai, it would be useful just to be sure you are on the right lane. But yeah,
So
yeah.
the other thing I want to say is, I used to think this was just in Japan,
Hmm.
but I always thought that the signs for turning were really confusing. In other words, is the sign after the turn, but telling you because you can see it from a distance? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
Hmm.
never been really clear to me what the arrows mean, and maybe the augmented reality there would help for that. I don't
Maybe,
know,
yeah.
but it's true in Thailand too. I used to drive in Thailand a lot. I think the sign setups are pretty bad.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay, so yeah, so maybe this can help here, right? So yeah, so like I think there is some technology that already exists and that does something great. So maybe yeah, maybe that's part of the answer regarding why AR is not so much widely used. But once again, nowadays our phone can do that. So like for example, if you wanna buy sneakers and that you just want to try them before you buy, like I think we have a compute engine power into our computer to just make us try the shoes. I think that's possible.
so here's what I think.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a concert or to a wedding or to a party or to like a ball game or anything? And instead of the people watching that event, they have their phone in front of their face filming that event so that they can watch it later, which they're never going to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they'll look at the screen.
Look at the screen on their phone, which is much
Yeah,
smaller, has a worse
yeah,
aspect ratio, is lower definition than just their eyes in the real world. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So what I think is part of the problem is here is that people don't want that phone in between them and their product.
Mhm.
But like you said, you could scan a QR code, you could actually scan something and make it look like it's on you. But part of the problem, I was thinking about this morning, is that if I want to look at a sweater on me, I'm not going to wear a sweater with one hand always extended in front of me. Do you know what I mean? I want to see it with like my hands doing things without
Yeah,
anything in them.
yeah.
Right. So this is why I think this idea of like Google Glass or Apple glasses or whatever they're going to be called is good. And frankly, I don't think people want to do this thing where they wear that like headset goggles.
Hmm.
I just don't think real people want to do that.
Yeah, because it's
But
gonna be so super real, right?
well, it's going to be super real, but also you want to go shopping or do you want to sit at home really? Because if you go shopping, you can just try it on. But you want to sit at home and put it on an Oculus Rift or whatever it's called,
Hmm.
or an HTC Vive just to see like what a product looks like. I don't think people are really going to do that. But what I do think people will do is have those glasses things on. Because
Hmm.
I think you want your hands free.
Hmm.
I mean, I'd love to drive, right? We can get back to the driving thing because I think driving is a really simplistic use of this AR and VR stuff.
Mhm.
But imagine being able to just think like, I need a new pair of Nikes. I wonder what they'd look like on me. And then you click on a bunch of things and you just look down at your feet and there they are.
Yeah. So actually, there's a few companies, there's a few apps that are doing that, and that's interesting that you mentioned Nikes and sneakers and basket in general. Let's say because I try them. I try some apps doing that.
Did you?
Yeah, I try that, and like the whole marketing of the app was try before you buy. Okay,
Right.
and so they let you try before you buy the sneakers, but and I really felt that either I'm not the right target or it was not really well executed because I could try. That was cool, but then what? And it was really weird because like I was not on the Nike store, right? So I was not like
Right.
on the Nike website and able like to just try whatever I wanted to try on their website. I was on a app that could gather Adidas, Nike, Puma, and stuff like that. But they did not have much choice because I don't know like
Yeah.
how IP and stuff like that is working for this kind of stuff.
Right.
But maybe there's an issue there, and they need to ask the brand, to be sure that they can use the product.
Right.
And so we didn't have much choice, and like I spent 45 seconds on the app. I think that was cool, and then stop. I have no reason to go back because maybe they're not gonna have any more new product or stuff like that, right? So I was
Right.
like, cool, but so what?
But
That
could
was
you
my
even,
point.
let's say you liked it on that particular app that you were
Yeah,
using. Let's say you liked the product and you liked the way it looked on your feed, right?
yeah.
Could you buy from there? In other words, was there a transaction possible from there or no?
No, you should not just buy inside the app. Then they go to the website where you can buy it.
Which is just a terrible e-commerce experience, right?
Yeah. So that's why like I was like, you market that as try before you buy. I think you should use the same technology that you have and use that for product discovery instead of letting me try before I buy, right? Like for
I think they
example,
should go
what?
ahead.
Sorry, what do you want
I
to
was
say?
gonna say I think they should change the name of the product.
Yeah,
Try
like
before you leave.
try before you leave, or like discover new shoes. Like something like that. Like and I think that would be more impactful because I didn't really see the value of trying the shoes through the app instead of
Yeah,
going to Nike store or something like that. And to be fair, like it was cool to see the shoes, but I still want to see in real how they feel and how they are, and I want to touch them. And I remember when I bought my last sneakers, like you can get 3 or 4 that looks the same, but inside that
right,
doesn't feel the same, right? And I
right.
feel like everybody had the same experience, so everybody know we want to try for real before we commit to something. So I
Yeah,
think there is not only the look that is important in fashion, and you remember
we agree.
when we
But
talked to
also,
David. Yeah.
yeah, but also, just getting back to this thing of when you tried this app, right?
Hmm.
You had the phone in your hand.
Yeah.
I just think it's a terrible experience. This
Hmm.
is what I meant when I said I don't think the tech is 100% there. If you've got to hold the phone while you're looking down at your feet, like it's just a weird feeling. But
Yeah.
again, if you had glasses on,
That's different.
this is why I want to talk about the glasses a little bit. We'll get to
Hmm.
that on your timing, but it would just be super cool if you could sit here and just think like, I think I want to look at the glasses. I mean, I think I want to look at these shoes on my feet.
Yeah.
You just throw on your glasses, you look down, you see them, and it would be awesome if you could just go, "Yep, bye,"
That's
some
cool.
kind of thing like that, right? They just show up the next day.
Let's just do it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think that can be better. But I'm not sure if it's one or like once again, I'm not sure if it's gonna really increase conversion rate and help
right.
people like go actually buy more shoes. Like you're not. I feel in the end we don't really need that. If you want the shoes, we can still have them. We go to the store. Like for example, like let's talk about Zalando. Like you can just go there, and if you don't
Yep.
like it, they just gonna we found you. There we found policies 365 days. They even pay for the shipping of when you return the product. So like if tomorrow we can have augmented reality, I'm not sure like it's gonna double the sales or it's gonna like either increase that like I don't know that much to be really worth it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a use case for for fashion or even for just clothing, regular clothing, e-commerce. I mean, I guess if you already own a product, right, like that T-shirt that you have, or like this polo shirt that I have, I know I
Mhm,
like it. I know it fits me. Maybe
mhm,
I want to see it in a different style.
mhm,
So that I could definitely understand, and that I would definitely do. But I think if it's a new product, something that you haven't purchased before,
mhm,
right, something that you haven't owned, I really think you got the technology is going to need to change a little bit, or a lot actually,
mhm.
to be able to. And I think there's actually a way to do this, but it's going to have to change a lot to be able to make it feel like you've actually tried it on, and you know what it's going to feel like and look like, right?
Definitely. And like if somebody listen to the show and is doing that, like you really need to come on the show and have this conversation with us and to explain to us like what you're doing and what technology you are building, because like maybe there's something that we don't know and that we should
Great
know,
idea.
Michael, right?
That's a great idea. What do you think, though, just from your experience, right? When you look around at technology for e-commerce, just in your
Mhm.
regular job,
Yeah.
do you see anything interesting developing right now? Like, have you noticed anything new where you said, "Oh, I have to make sure that this is added"?
No, not
No.
really, not really, not really. And like, and once again, you remember a few weeks ago we had a conversation with Dave Drew, who do the same
Yep.
as me in looking about new features and how to increase, the user experience and how to have a better user experience into his website and for his customers. And same, he didn't see anything yet that should help into this field. So that's why, like, if anybody's doing something, like, just reach out to us, and we would be like really, really glad to listen to the technology that you're building.
So, what do you think would increase conversions?
Um, that's a good question. That's a good question. That's a good question. I think the user experience and the branding is still like key for
Key,
many,
right?
many, many online shops, because it's linked to trust. And if today's people buy on Amazon or buy on these big marketplaces because they trust them, it's easy. They knows if you go on Amazon, it's gonna like have less problems. I think that's one of the reason why people go there and they don't go to a small shop e-commerce, which is to just go away with the money.
Right.
So I don't think like yeah, we should maybe like try to find a way like how augmented reality can increase this trust towards the brand, and maybe live commerce is kind of in between. It's not exactly augmented reality, but we can start talking with people from the brand. So what about we can do something with augmented reality where we can talk with someone from the company, from the brand, from the stylist, and we can help us answer some question, or I don't know. That's just an idea in my mind right now.
Right. So, the reason why I asked you is because I met a guy like 3 or 4 years ago,
Okay.
and he was working on a technology that allowed the camera, and the cameras on the cell phones right now or on the mobile phones right now are way better than they were even just 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Definitely.
And he was working on some tech that would allow someone to hold their phone up to you. And like if you just slowly rotated your body
Okay.
and they kind of moved the phone up and down, it could do what Apple's phone does now for facial recognition, right? Like, do you have the facial recognition on your phone?
No, I don't.
You don't, neither do I.
I don't
But
use
I've
it.
tried it, right? So you hold it up to your face,
Okay.
you kind of scan it around, it scans your whole face, it puts a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of dots on your face, right? So you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to wear one of those augmented reality suits that they have when they're making the video games,
Yeah.
but they simulate that with the phone. And I think as the phones keep getting better and better, they'll be able to scan your body, you twist around, right? And then I think if there's some kind of mixed reality, so a mix of augmented reality where things just appear to be in your real life and virtual reality where you appear to be somewhere where you're not, some kind of combination of those two things together is a good next step, I think, to this sort of try before you buy thing. Now, you miss out a little bit on what David said, like how does the fabric drape? But I think that can be fixed with technology, but more the feel, right? In other
Mm-hmm.
words, does it have a silky feeling? Is that thing going to itch me?
Mm-hmm.
Is the cut too tight?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do I not like that? Are my biceps too big for the ring that's around? That kind of thing. For me, no, not anymore. But you know what I mean? I think the phone is going to reach a point where like look at the new camera systems on the Android phones, right? On some of the
Mm-hmm.
Samsung phones and on the Apple phones, the cameras are super powerful, right?
Definitely.
In a
Definitely.
way, they're more cameras than they are phones at some level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that I think is going to happen, and I think that's an interim step to get to the feel of what a garment, is when it's on you. Shoes, I think, are super tricky because Like there could be pain involved. Like I bought a pair of sneakers a couple of months ago for training, right? So
Hmm.
for running. And I had to walk around in the store for like a couple of minutes just to make sure that they weren't going to be too tight, right?
Yes, definitely.
And I just don't know how you do that. Let me give you another experience that I had. And this was not augmented reality, but this was like getting a customized pair of shoes made. This was years ago in Hong Kong.
Hmm.
You sat down in your shop, the guy measured your foot, and then he made a customized shoe just for you. The only
Okay.
problem is the dude didn't cut the ankle wide enough to be able to actually get your foot in.
Okay.
So it was a beautiful looking mold, but it wasn't a shoe. And I don't, I wonder if the same thing's going to happen with technology. It'll be a beautiful mold, but you won't be able to get into it. Like it needs to be painted onto you.
Definitely. I completely see what you mean. So, okay, so I see I see what you have in mind. And so what do you think about using augmented reality and all of this technology instead of trying to increase the conversion with stuff like try before you buy, which means like we put on the website, people like try and look for the product, try them with augmented reality, and then buy. What do you think we use that instead for product discovery? And one example that I would have would be like tomorrow Nike launch a new pair of shoes and they advertise it with augmented reality before it comes out. So like you can download the app, see that, try that, and everything before it comes out, and like try to create a buzz around that and see like, yeah, that's super cool. What do you think of that?
So that I think is really the key question here is I think the question is not will the technology be able at some point to make it feel like you've tried it on and you can be
Hmm.
satisfied that you know what it looks like and feels like. But more than that is will it actually help conversions? And I think the answer to that is maybe. But more veering towards no than yes,
Hmm.
right? Because again, if you're buying Nike, you already trust the brand.
Hmm.
So it's not going to help the branding, right?
Definitely.
And if it's a
Mm.
brand you don't know, I don't think you're any more likely to convert just because of some whiz bang technology,
Mhm.
right? What you really want to be able to do is touch it. Like, is the cotton thick enough?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like, is this going to rip or break in the washing machine?
Hmm.
And I think that sometimes you can build tech just for tech's sake because we as geeks love to have like the newest, coolest technology out there. But is it really going to make regular people convert? In other words,
Yeah, not necessary.
like, is your mom going to use that technology? Is your sister going to use that technology? Is your grandfather going to? I just don't think so.
Yeah. And like
Right.
as we see, for example, like you talked about my grandfather, it's widely known into e-commerce that if you want the baby boomers and the 55 plus to buy on your website, you get to have something very simple because they're gonna be scared. They do, they don't understand exactly as fast as somebody who is 20 years old. So if tomorrow augmented reality comes out, maybe it can also scare people actually, and like maybe it can like not only not increase conversion rates but maybe like actually decrease them because people are just scared to use that, they don't understand, and that's not the normal shopping experience, so they just go and they just go buy in a normal store.
Yeah, I mean, make it easier for me. You're right. I think at
Yeah,
some level, if you add complexity to the shopping process,
definitely.
it may look cool for people that think it looks cool, but a lot of people will be put off by it. And if you put too many choices there for how you can interact with the technology,
Absolutely
people will
not
just
good.
say no, thank you, and go to a place that's much easier for them to buy. It's a great point, and I think you ruin conversions at some level
Yeah,
if you make the purchasing too complex.
completely. Like we
Yeah,
definitely see that into e-commerce. Like the buying process must be super simple if you really
right.
want to increase your conversion. So yes, the trend is more towards like making something easier and faster than making something more complex, right?
So
Yeah.
let me give you a perfect example of this. Remember on one of the shows we did a couple of weeks ago, I talked about El Mercado
Hmm.
ordering.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing again today. It was very simple. I paid by wire transfer directly off my phone. I took a picture of it. I airdropped it onto my, actually, I didn't even airdrop it. I just sent it in email from my phone to them. They approved it. I got my sandwich for lunch. Very simple, right? But today I'm also trying to sign up for WeChat because I need to talk to some people in China. And they said, the best way to get to me is WeChat. And I have been trying for hours. They're presuming when you sign up, right, that the person that you're trying to communicate with on WeChat is sitting right next to you. because it
Mhm.
says if you want to sign up for WeChat, confirm with the person next to you and have them scan this QR code. And I'm like, okay. And then I sent somebody the QR code, and now jumping through hoops for the past like 3 hours. It's not a good experience. And I may be 55 plus, but I'm not afraid of this technology. But I understand your point. Yeah, and I think you're right at some level too. If your concern is conversions,
I
I think your dollars are better spent on other things rather than fancy whiz bang AR, VR technology, particularly if it's in the phone. I definitely think it's a bad way to spend your marketing money.
Completely, and that's why I think like augmented reality is a new technology every year because like
Right,
just
right, right.
it just doesn't take off because of that. Like people are not using their money there because that's not the best way to increase conversion. And today e-commerce is more and more competitive, especially now. Like let's say in the post-COVID world, like COVID definitely like increase the numbers of products available online by like a huge number, and
Right.
the number of brands that are selling online also, which means competition is a lot higher, but also like the number of ads that people see like exploded, right? So like the noise is not like this; it's like huge, right? There's so much noise from a customer point of view, and that once again, if you want to have your marketing profitable, if you want to have your company profitable, the only thing that matters at the end of the day is conversion rates and how much people are gonna buy when they go on your website, how much customer you can keep in your company and get them to buy again and again and again. And if the technology doesn't help to do that, I don't
Right.
think people are going to invest that amount of time and money into that. They would prefer going into new advertising channel like TikTok for example. They are going to prefer to get like a faster website, something that can load faster and
Right.
stuff like that instead of investing into augmented reality, I think.
What do you think if the augmented reality or the virtual reality moves into glasses, right? So it moves away from your phone, your hands are now free. And if the glasses, remember, because the phone is limited just to sort of the 6 inches or 8 inches or whatever size phone you
Mm-hmm.
have that's in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you could have a tablet with you, but most people are not taking out their iPad
Mm-hmm.
and using it when they're like walking around mostly. And even if they're home, they're probably on their laptop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have these glasses on, you can probably have these virtual screens. And I'm not talking about the goggles, right? I'm talking about like just eyeglasses with very, sophisticated glass in them, whole bunch of cameras on them. But now you can probably have what was that movie, Minority Report, where it just had all these screens in front of you?
Yeah.
I think that's possible.
I think that's completely possible, and I feel like it comes down to one question: does people want to use these glasses or not? Because I don't think we're gonna use that only for e-commerce, only for online shopping. If it's only designed for e-commerce, it's not going to work. So it needs to be designed for a much bigger purpose. Let's say like the phone are not made for buying online. The phone, like the smartphone
Right,
that we
right, right.
have like a huge, a big purpose, and we also use them for e-commerce. So I think it needs to be the same way for the glasses. And yeah, so like does people want to use that? And I think the most recent experience and example that we saw with the glasses is maybe for now not. And let's see later.
But so here's the thing, right? I think, are you talking about the Google Glass and the
Yeah, yeah,
experiences the world had with Google Glasses? No, because the people that were using them were being really idiotic, right? They were
yeah.
just filming people without asking them permission. There were a whole bunch of problems with them.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And I was thinking about this morning when I was looking at some rendering of the Apple glasses, right? We don't even
Mhm,
know if it's a real product, but we're pretty sure that it's coming out at some point.
mhm,
And I thought, what do you do with people that have prescriptions, excuse me, right? Like I
mhm,
have eyeglasses that I use to read.
mhm.
So, but some people have eyeglasses that need to see distance, right? So everyone's eyes are different. Are you telling me that like it would be super neat, I think, if you could get those glasses with your prescription in them
Definitely.
and then still be able to see all these big screens in front of you whenever you wanted to? And I think about it this way, right? First of all, when they come out, they're going to be way too expensive.
Mhm,
It's always that way, right?
mhm.
Like even when the iPhone came out, it was just way too expensive for most people, and now everybody has one at some level, right? Even
Yeah,
if it's an Android phone, they have the same kind of phone, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like these headphones that I have,
Mhm,
they're really just made for listening and a
mhm,
little bit for talking, right?
mhm.
But sometimes when I leave my condo and come here, I put them on and don't connect them to anything. I just use it for the noise canceling.
So you don't
And
listen to anything. You don't hear
I don't
any
want to listen
noise.
to any of the ambient noises in the world. But I think that at some level, like you said, if the product is bespoke just for e-commerce,
Hmm.
no one's ever going to buy it.
For sure.
But I mean, if you could literally like have maps in it, or think about this, have you ever been at a party or been in a situation, a social situation, right, where you see somebody, they come over, they don't reintroduce themselves to you. You know them, but you don't remember their name.
Yeah, and you can have a little pop up and say John.
Yeah, like how amazing would it be if it was just like, oh, that's Lisa Thompson. And you just
Yeah.
go, hey, Lisa, how are you? It's been a while since we went to summer camp together because the data's just like scrolling by you, right?
Actually, I am terrible with first names, so that would help me a lot.
So you just got last names.
So yeah, so I completely see your point, and I completely agree with you. This can be of a lot of helps, and I also always liked the experience that we can get from this kind of glasses when we go visit a new country or a new city, because like we can
Yeah,
just
yeah,
walk in and see like all the history and like all the nice monuments and stuff like that thanks to the glass. That can be like super good also for tourism. And yeah, and I also love the example that you gave for people who have glasses for reading or for driving, or for all of this
right.
kind of situation, because if those glass can help there, maybe like we can, thanks to technology, go further than into helping these people who need a lens or glasses or stuff like that.
Sure.
And so I think that's super cool, and that's making me think about something like, look, like as you say, we had the problem with Google Glasses, and people were idiots maybe to use that to film other people. I have the other
Right. Punching
example
other people.
and punching each other and stuff like that. And it made me also think about the Snapchat glasses that were doing the same thing. Like I remember the last time I was in Las Vegas, it was like in 2016, something like that, and people were using the Snapchat glasses to be able to take pictures and video, and then send them automatically to their Snapchat stories or friend. Like so, you
Right.
could like really capture the moment without your phone. What you told earlier. And I
Right.
remember I was in a party in Las Vegas, and people had that. You don't want to talk to them because you
No,
know
no, no,
that they are taking pictures of you and videos of you,
no.
and that it's so like, and it was like you just don't want to be around these guys, so you just hide yourself and you just try, to avoid them. And the point what I want to make here is that we don't like the glasses for this reason, just because we don't
Right.
want to be taken in pictures, and also for our privacy. And Apple definitely take this angle right now of helping the consumers with their data and with their privacy, right?
I,
So maybe that's
I
a
want to get to, I want to
yeah,
get to data and data privacy in a
yeah,
second. Go ahead. No, go
yeah.
ahead.
Before you can come up with your ID, like what my point here is that maybe they take this turn towards like protecting the user to be able to introduce the Apple Glass in a few years better than what
Right.
Google did, right? So they maybe want to be sure, maybe they want to be seen as the company who care about your data and your privacy. And once everybody agree with that and trust them, then they say, okay, now we're gonna go with the Apple glasses.
So the one thing we haven't spoken about is defining how we think augmented reality is going to work in the real world. So what do I mean? I mean, let's say I have these glasses. I want to
Mm-hmm.
use the glasses example, right? And let's say they have all this really great functionality.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I'm in my home country.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do a foreign country in a minute. In my home country, and I walk into Target or walk into Walmart or walk into Big C, and just think about the idea of like it has an NFC sensor on it, and it knows what I'm looking at, and I can just get all the detailed information on that product directly like into my brain, right? So like right into my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to ask anybody anything, right? I can also know what inventory they have. So like let's say I'm a size, 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
I can look at that shoe. I don't have to ask a salesperson, do you have any 8.5s?
Yeah, we
Because
will
I'm
know
already
already.
being told. So this is like it's not e-commerce per se, but if you think about what David told us, the online to offline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if I walk into a Pomelo fashion shop, right, and I look at the garment and I know exactly like what it's made of, where it was made, how long it was, like when it was issued, you know what I mean, for fast moving consumer goods,
Mm-hmm.
that would be super cool, right? And that actually may change conversions, not
A lot.
online.
Yeah,
but offline.
completely agree with
And
you. And yeah, please go ahead.
sorry,
I don't interrupt you.
and and let's say you're an American traveling to Paris, or you're an American traveling to Tokyo, and you go into a store, you can't read it, you can't understand it, you can't talk to anybody. But if the glasses can translate it for you,
That's
and
the
I
best
mean
conversion.
word for word, so it has a barcode or a QR code or something, but you don't have to, run your thing over. You just have to look at it,
Mm.
and it tells you this is the Sony ZV-1. Here are the specs. Here's how you can use it. And if you want, you can watch like an online video for it,
Oh
and
yeah.
then you can just buy it right there. Pay for it, wink twice to pay, kind of thing. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many cool uses for commerce. It just is how you define e-commerce. Is it only when you're not in a shop? But if it's online to offline, that could really accelerate conversions, I think.
Completely. I completely agree with you, and I think the example of the video that you gave would be like really 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 cool, because you're right. Like there's many people who are going on YouTube to have an example of how the Sony ZV-1 looks, right?
Right.
And
Or works, yeah, because
or
I've done that.
worse, or like, so as Michael, you want to buy a new camera now, I'm sure. That's why you talk about the Sony ZV-1, but like
I
you,
have the ZV-1, but I do want a new
yeah,
one.
that's why. So you know this camera, right? So if you go to the shop, it's easier for you to buy it because you
Right,
know
right,
it.
right.
But if you go to the video shop for the first time and you don't know the camera, having a video pop up of a review of somebody who just show you might help a lot, right? And you cannot just have iPad everywhere and let everybody play his own video, because it's gonna be a mess. But you can do that with glasses, because everybody gonna have his own experience and his own video. It's not gonna annoy anybody else, and maybe like influencers marketing can have like a huge growth towards that, because we can also touch the people who are offline and not only online.
Right. And I think that the companies that have an integrated system like Apple and even Samsung does this, and maybe Bose will build some stuff as well. But if you have an integrated system, imagine a world where you have an iPhone, and maybe that's where all the processing power is, or some of it.
Hmm.
You have some glasses, and you have AirPods,
Hmm.
right? Inconspicuous AirPods, but they're noise canceling, so you can hear through them, which means that when you're standing there with your phone, you don't have to watch the video or find the video. It just finds some for you on your glasses, yeah?
Hmm.
It plays the sound in your AirPods so you can hear it. And then you can actually transact almost immediately
Hmm.
if you want to buy that product. Maybe you just go, buy that for me, please, right now, and ship it to my house.
But that means that Apple needs to have your banking details also to be able
Already
to
do.
process the payments, right?
Already do.
They already do for you, but I don't think they have like a lot of people in informations. Like for example, like Apple Pay is not one of the major way to pay in e-commerce. Like the number of transaction that goes through Apple Pay is very very low, especially
It
in
is low.
Europe. So like yeah, like they have, but just people don't use them. I completely agree with you. It makes sense. Like pay on Apple Pay on my website. It would completely make sense. And same for Google Play and stuff like that. But people just don't do that yet. Maybe they will, but for now it's way too early for that, I think.
Yeah, and remember when we went to lunch a few days ago when we were at the Seven Peaks office, right? We went
Yeah,
downstairs, we
yeah,
had that pizza.
yeah,
We had to scan the QR code to get the menu.
yeah.
No, I think if we go into like a fancy French restaurant on, Park Avenue or Madison Avenue, New York, I'm going to want a physical menu. I want to turn the pages. I want to
Hmm.
feel the thickness of the paper. But if you're just going into a pizza joint, how cool would it have been to just look at it, have the menu pop up, and
And
just
pay.
say like next page, or even just go flip it in the air, right? Because that's augmented reality.
Hmm.
It just would have been so much faster. And remember, the order guy came over and had to literally write it down. Remember, on a piece of paper.
Yeah. And so we do just order via the glass in the office, and then 5 minutes before
Go
ready,
downstairs and get it.
just don't send it yet, right?
Yeah,
It will
just go
work.
downstairs and get it.
Yeah.
Right, because you always have that menu access. You can just go, show me the menu for the for that pizza place downstairs, whatever the name of it is.
Or what restaurant is open now downstairs? Okay, pizza. Oh, that's cool. Okay, can you show me
Yeah,
the menu? Okay, I want this one, and I'm gonna go take it. And even if we remove the difficult question of the payments, like we can still order, go downstairs and pay by cash. That's still fine, right?
Hmm.
So, and then we can just remove the potential problems with the payment gateway. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, I ordered the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I did cash on delivery, I gave the guy whatever the price was, exact
Completely
change.
fine. Yeah, completely fine.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I think we talked a lot about like fashion, like we do now in a little bit into food. Do you see like any other industry where we can benefit from augmented reality glasses and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot about hardware stores or tools or home
Mm-hmm.
improvements and things like that, right? In other words, I went to go look at a refrigerator a few months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a nightmare, right? Or even a television set where it's like you have 60 different 55 or 65-inch television sets. They all kind of look the same. They have some of the same stickers on them, but you really have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it would be great just to be able to walk into the store, look around, and go, "That's the one I think I want. What is the model number? What is the thing?" Because if have you been into like Power Buy recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what they do at Power Buy, physical store in True Digital Park. Okay,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
on the third floor, second floor. You walk in, you look at the TV, and they'll have one big price sign on it. It'll say 16,000 baht.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh my god, a 55-inch television set for 16,000 baht. That's cheap. I'll take two of those. Then you find out that's not what the price is for. It's for that little. It's for the sound bar that's sitting below it. You can't
Yeah.
do that if it's all electronic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm in Thailand. I don't speak Thai that well.
And
But
people
if all
don't.
the information was there and it
Mm-hmm.
just fed into my glasses and then went into my headphones, right? Because I have Apple AirPods on or even these Sonys,
Mm-hmm.
that would just be super cool experience, wouldn't it?
Definitely. I completely agree with you. And then we can imagine a system where this is directly connected with the online shop, like that gather all the data with the warehouse, the store and stuff like that. So then you
Right.
can just buy either in shop and go out with that, or you can buy on the website and then they deliver it to you on the same day or whenever you want, right? But
Right, right, right.
but like yeah, this can definitely happen. I think it's not that hard. And I was thinking about like a first step that we can do right now, because like the Apple Glass are not made to be released right now, right? So it's not in a few years yet. But maybe we can just do an app that does that first and see if people just like it. One more idea, Michael. But still not the glass. You still have to have your phone, right? Which is what you were saying before. It's not a super good experience. But
Right.
I really would like to see like if the experience of being into a store, scanning the TV, getting the informations, and may either pay here or pay online and get delivered. Does this experience can work first? You see, do
Yeah.
do do you see my point?
I do, but I do think that the phone adds a little bit of friction, right? Because
Mm.
in your real life, the way communication takes place is I'll say to you, hey Martin, when's your birthday? I
Mm-hmm.
won't take out my phone and scan your
Scan
passport.
or scan
That would
me.
be weird. But again, imagine if the glasses or the augmented reality somehow was
Mm-hmm.
connected to your ears and your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a foreign country and you walk into a store, and the store person as well, the clerk is also equipped with the same glasses
Mm-hmm.
or some facsimile thereof. And you could walk in to Japan and say, in whatever language you speak, how much is that shirt? And they say to you in Japanese,
It's
that's 10,000 yen.
it's translated
It
in
translates
real time.
immediately in your ear.
Yeah,
And then you say, okay, I'll buy two of those. And because you can see that they have inventory in your size,
mm-hmm.
that's frictionless commerce. Yeah.
Completely. That would be really really awesome. I completely agree with you. Yeah, and you're right. Like you see, like all of our conversation seems to go to the offline world, like or how we can use the online data and online um, process to improve the experience into the offline stores. Because in the end, people like that in the end, right? They like to go to the store.
Yeah. I mean, look, we've talked about this before too.
Yeah,
It's always better to go shopping with somebody else,
yeah.
right? Shopping is a social thing. And if you're just sitting at home, I think conversions are way higher offline than they are online, where you're just like, maybe later. You can't even ask your friend, do these look good on me? Should I get that thing?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, what I don't want to do is go shopping with you because you'll be like, don't get that. You don't need that. You already have two of those.
Yeah, you're right. Like conversion are completely different offline and online. Like if you go to buy shoes, you are not going to go to five different stores to find the shoes that you like. You're not to the first store. maybe 2, maybe 3, but after that you're tired and you just want to buy something, right? But online, you just don't go to 20 websites. That's completely okay.
Right,
You
right,
can go
right.
everywhere. You can go like compare everything, look for a coupon, and go on YouTube and get reviews and all of that, right? At the experience is completely different, and yeah, the conversion rate must be definitely much higher offline.
But then think about, you just made a really good point too. Right now, if you're in store A, a physical store,
Hmm.
right? And I think we're going to blur the line between online commerce and offline commerce going forward. Like
Hmm.
shops are not going to go away. Even though people thought they were going to go away, they're not going to go away.
Yeah,
The
don't think
experience
so.
is going to be more like what we're discussing, right? But imagine that augmented reality being able to also do price discovery
Hmm.
and price comparison.
Yeah,
So you're sitting in store A and you're like, oh, these look really great. And then you just ask because you have an NFC chip and whatever GPS in your glasses, and you say,
where is it?
are there any stores around here that have a better price
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
different
this one.
color,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
but
And you just
like,
go,
but this can
go
be a
ahead.
huge problem for the shop then, because it's gonna be way easier for the customer to find the best deal or the best price. Like, is it something similar but cheaper? You see, like we can imagine this kind of question. Like for example, like you talked about the Sony ZV-1, that's great, but that's an expensive camera. Is there something like that's kind of the same but cheaper? And then can get people out of the store and drive them to another store.
Yeah, like maybe instead of buying the Sony ZV-1, you buy a Logitech Brio.
For example.
For example, I know some
And
people that have done that for one third the price.
for one for price, and you're super happy, right? So yeah,
No, I'm
if
very mad actually.
because I changed your mind, that's why you're mad.
I'm mad that I have the ZV-1.
Yeah, you're right. The first one, right? But like,
Yeah,
I I also really like this idea that the offline store can be used as a place to stock stuff and that you can just go pick up. Like
right, right, right.
the pick and collect, I think in e-commerce is really good. Like I know myself and I can order on Lazada and get delivered in 3 days. Rather than take me 5 minutes, but I have 3 days to wait. I prefer
Right.
taking 2 hours to go to the shop, buy it,
Same here.
and having the thing in 2 hours. I really
Same
prefer
here.
that. So yeah, as long as e-commerce cannot deliver in 2 hours, then physical store can definitely help with that by having like a lot of little units to be able for people just to pick it up, and then we can use the store both way, one for going to buy something, but also we can go there and pick up something that we would like.
Right. I think David was telling us that that's one
Yeah,
of the biggest uses right now is that people actually go down to the shop before they pay, right?
exactly.
This is actually a really cool, this is a cool innovation with the online to offline as well.
Hmm.
But again, let's say you have the glasses, so you have some augmented reality experience. You like the
Completely.
product, you like the way it looks, and then you say, I'm going to order it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go into the store and feel the fab and make sure it feels okay on me.
Yeah.
And then I'll pay for it.
Completely. I think
Right.
that's a good experience. Actually, I would be happy to shop this way.
So would I. I'd love to shop that way, actually.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. And yeah, I like also the idea that you had that we can go in the store and get all the information about the product directly into the glass through augmented reality. And also something I'm thinking about, the brands that commit to be good for Earth or good for the animals, or like all these brands who say like we're gonna have
Yeah.
zero waste or stuff like that. It's gonna be
Right.
a very great way for them to either reinforce this brand or to differentiate themselves against their competitor. And for example, I'm thinking about a brand that is currently launching in Thailand called Lush, and they are doing like soap and stuff like that, and their whole branding is about, yeah, being good for the earth, and like no
Green.
no
It's just a
no
green
animal
product line,
testing
right?
and green product and like no
Yeah.
waste, and it's their whole marketing, and it worked, and that's great, right? That's super good.
So
So if you can go to a shop, because like that's super hard to understand if you're not really into that, like what do they do different than a normal brand, right? Like you can go to a Lush store and thanks to your glasses have all the information about what they do different, why it's great, and they can increase the power of the brand and their selling pitch, let's say, thanks to
yeah.
that, thanks to this additional layer of information.
But you could also enable an entire platform of augmented and not virtual reality, but of augmented reality in the glasses. That's like a it's like a an ad platform on steroids, right? So again, let's say you go to a store for any product, whether it's an electronics product,
Mm-hmm.
a fashion product, even a food product, right, in the supermarket, and you're like, I want to learn about this while I'm here.
Yeah,
You just click on whatever the information is that the product owner
completely.
has put out there for you in video form,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you can interact with it that way and get all this info and just say, no, thank you, right? Or then go to a review, like you said before, like
Yeah.
going to the YouTube review and stuff like that. But also imagine this. Let's say you buy that product,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say it's IKEA,
Mm-hmm.
right? So here's another perfect example of online to offline. Let's say you're walking around IKEA. Have you ever been in an IKEA?
Yep.
So they force you to walk in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And all their products have ridiculous names. I don't know why. Anyway, lots of J's, lots of K's, and lots of umlauts. No idea how to pronounce any of them.
It's because that's
They just say couch.
Swedish, and they just they just
They
use
should just say couch. I don't care. Um, but again, they ship with these instructions that are tiny to read
Mm-hmm.
and just that little screwdriver, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if you buy the product. So the customer experience then now increases, right? It gets better.
Mm-hmm.
The instructions are either on a QR code or something in a video that you buy that you get when you buy the product.
Yeah.
So you can actually step by step, like these instructions that they have frustrate people sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But if they show step by step, take these things out, organize them this way in a video, you can just do it
At the same
while you're
pace.
doing it.
Yeah. That's super cool, and that gives me another idea is that if we have a glass and if we have a question, it's super good to be able to contact the customer support with
Right away. I was thinking the same thing.
normally operating on the website, but now they can help you also offline for any kind of question that you may have. And for example, IT, that's a very nice example. Like I don't know, there is any kind of problems, just use the glass, contact customer support, either have a phone call with them or just chat, because it's gonna be super easy with the glasses, and you can have enhanced customer experience. Like I mean, after said experience, and this is key really in e-commerce for customer retention and for keeping them happy and for word of mouth, because like as e-commerce is being like more and more competitive, the brand try to get the customer to buy and buy more inside the brand, right? Like they really want to keep them and make them happy, because that's way cheaper to sell to an existing customer than to acquire a new one. So the brands really emphasize on that, on how they can keep selling to their existing customer, and part of that is customer support. That's a very, very, very important thing. So if you can like enhance this experience of customer support thanks to glasses, thanks to augmented reality, that can be a real game changer, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, the customer experience is we talked about this right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Is this going to increase conversions? Well, now we figured out how.
Mm-hmm.
Right, by walking through all these scenarios, which is one of the great things about these conversations that we have every week, is that sometimes the premise that we have at the beginning is kind of exploded by the time we get to the end as we walk through the process and try to figure out how this stuff can get used.
Completely.
But you did ask the question, will this help increase conversions?
Yeah.
Now, in this case, the mere looking at the product, it depends how you use the augmented reality, right? In other words, remember somebody was showing us yesterday, if you buy a product, it puts the flowers around it. Like, I don't think that's going to be a big deal for conversions.
Mm-hmm.
But if the augmented reality is around putting the product together or explaining you how to use it or how to set up your stereo system at home or any of these things, some of these products are really complex.
Yeah, and that's
imagine this.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you have a very sophisticated car and something goes wrong. Right now, there's just like a little flashing sign on the car. You're like, I don't know.
What's that?
Because you connect it to your car.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the maps thing we can talk about, that's different, but you can connect it to your car and just see like what needs servicing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's that. You have some information. It tells you like, do you need to go to the
Service,
guy with the repair that like now, or is it okay to go tomorrow or next week, right? So you can like feel better about that. And it gives me a very funny example actually.
Go ahead.
You remember when I bought this boom arm? You remember I told you I could not understand how just to delete like this because it was keep extending all the time, right? And I was like, shit, how do I get this down, right? And I didn't want to put the microphone on that because when it's extended, it's like it's big, and I first wanted to understand how to get it down, right?
Right.
And I really felt so stupid when I understand it was just because there was no weight,
Microphone on.
but before I figured it out, I was like checking on YouTube for videos on Google just to try to understand why this happened and how to fix it. And I was like, shit, I just buy it. Am I that stupid? But I really felt bad, right? And after when I found the solution, I was like, okay, it made sense, right? But it took me maybe like 20 minutes of feeling
Yep.
bad about myself to figure this out. Because when you look for a solution on YouTube and there is no other people who have the same problem, you really feel bad. You feel like I'm
Because,
not that stupid,
because
right?
it's so obvious that nobody
It's
mentioned it
so
in the explainer
exactly,
video. They're just like, check it out, hook it up, look, it works.
yeah, exactly.
Mine's not working.
All the video were like that, and I was feeling so bad. But like, if you can contact customer support at a Roder and say, guys, I have a question. It might sound stupid, but I really don't know. This can help a lot, and this can
Yeah.
like once again like reinforce the brand and show that they care about their customer, show they are here for you. And frankly speaking, they do that already. If any brands have an e-commerce website and they do customer support, they are already answering this kind of question, not at scale maybe that the glasses can do, but they are already doing that. So they already have the process, they already have the question, they already have the team and stuff like that. So it's not going to be a lot of additional work to do that.
But
But it
think
can,
about it.
yeah,
Yeah, because look, all of these companies, they print these really tiny instructions, right, that
yeah,
ship in like 6 different languages. It's not only is it a complete waste of paper, but nobody can read it because it's too small.
mm-hmm,
But again, if you I'm looking at the PSA One Studio Arm box, it's got a barcode on it. You could have a QR code on it. And as soon as you buy it, or even before you buy it, you just have the glasses on. You look at it and it says, please make sure that you attach a microphone to this before you set it up. Be careful because the springs that are in these things are really strong.
mm-hmm.
And the only way it's going to work is if the microphone is already attached. That's the one thing you should be careful of. You just take it home, put it up, and put the mic on, and you're done. Like
Yeah,
2 seconds.
super simple. But if nobody tells you, you can be like me, looking around for why it doesn't work only for you. But thanks to a better customer experience, I would be so happy.
Right.
And also, I would be like, yeah, Roder is the best brand in the world. So next time I have a question, next time I want to buy something, I would go to them because they helped me a
Absolutely.
lot, right? And this experience can be made thanks to augmented reality, thanks to the all the idea we had so far. And I
Right.
think this can be a game changer if you focus on customer support and customer experience, maybe not pre-sale but after sale, and yeah, to enhance how people gonna use your product. I think that can be cool.
Absolutely. So, Martin, how are we doing on time? In other words, I don't think we have enough time to cover another topic.
No, we are 58 minutes right now.
Perfect. Thank you very much for doing today's show, Martin.
Thank you very much, Michael. That was
No, that
very
was
interesting.
great.
Yeah,
No, that was super great, actually. And I love these sort of progressive conversations where at the beginning we're like, well, I don't know. And by the
yeah,
time we get to the end, we're like, now we
yeah.
definitely know at least some great use cases for augmented reality,
Mm,
whether it's in the phone to start, because you could do some of the things we talked about on the phone, right? The
yeah,
camera, like you said, has tons of functionality. It's not as frictionless because you still have to hold it,
but at least
right?
you can
In other
try.
words,
Yeah,
yeah, in other words, imagine if you had to take your eyes out of your pocket every time you wanted to see something. It works, but it's not frictionless, right?
yeah.
So it's good to have them there. And I think the glasses will have some of that functionality in them.
Hmm.
But just the commerce possibilities that open up if you build good customer experiences for people through those glasses, super powerful.
This can be super great. Yeah, and definitely, I completely agree with you. That was a very nice progression into our discussion. And if anybody is doing something related to augmented reality, or if you completely disagree with us because we say like a lot of bad stuff, like please contact us, and it would be like super interesting to talk with you. Yeah, and to know like what you're building, what do you see in augmented reality, how do you see like the next 5 years into that. I think that can be super interesting.
And Martin, where can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about DrTech?
They can just email me at martin@lodr.tech. That's the easiest way.
Tech. Okay,
Yeah.
Martin, this was awesome. Thank you again for such an awesome episode.
Thank you very much, Michael. Have a nice day. Bye bye.